If you see me wearing the same outfit as I have in a recent video, no you didn't. I've been caught out. Yes, I am pre-filming because I had lots of ideas and I wanted to just have a filming day and I could not be bothered to change in between, so I'm ruining the immersion. I'm really sorry. Although I say that, but I never notice if people that I watch wear the same outfit 2 videos in a row, so I'm definitely overthinking it and nobody will care that I'm in the same outfit. So today I want to talk about the books that I want to read for the Irish Readathon. The Irish Readathon is taking place all the way through March and the goal is just to read as many Irish books as you can, and it's hosted by some lovely booktubers, Leanne, Aoife and Elaine, I believe. I will leave all of their links and information around the readathon in the description. I was so excited when it was announced because I have visited Ireland once before. I went to Dublin, but it was such a good trip and I went to the Writers' Museum in Dublin and they had so much information about famous Irish writers and I got embarrassed because I hadn't read nearly enough of them, and so I thought this readathon would be the perfect way to address that and actually read some more Irish authors. There are a few prompts and the books that I've picked out do follow some of the prompts, but there is no pressure, I don't think. The prompts are just suggestions to kind of help you read some more Irish books, and I believe that the hosts have videos on their channels about videos surrounding the prompts. For example, one of the prompts is to read a BIPOC or LGBTQ author, and there will be recommendation videos there that can help you find those books if you're struggling. So the first prompt is just to read a book with green on the cover, and this prompt is mainly for people that maybe don't have access to Irish books or Irish authors, so it's a way to partake in the readathon if you can't partake in the readathon essentially. And for this prompt I would like to read Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys, and I think this is the only book that I own that has this much green on the cover, so that's why I picked it for this prompt. This is also a copy that I got second hand in a charity shop for £2, but I just love the kind of worn aesthetic of it. I'm very strange, like I don't like my books that I buy now to end up kind of tattered. Like I don't dog-ear pages, I don't write in my books unless they're for kind of school or studying, and I'm very careful with like how I handle them, but I do love kind of aged charity shop copies that definitely feel like they have a history to them and they have that musty book smell. Love it. Sorry, I got distracted talking about the smell of the book instead of the plot of the book, which is what we're all here for. And I believe Wide Sargasso Sea is a kind of imagined prequel about the Mad Woman in the Attic from Jane Eyre, so it's kind of almost like her origin story, so like where she was from, where she came from, how she ended up in England with Mr. Rochester, and you know, why did she end up shut away in an attic. And I've heard some really good things about this one, so it's definitely one that I want to try and get to this month. Another prompt for the readathon is read a new to you author, and for this one I will be reading Here is the Beehive by Sarah Crossan. I've never read a Sarah Crossan book, but I've heard so much about all of her books, so I'm very excited for this one. I know that Shar from Thoroughly Enjoyed Books swears by this book and loves it. I know that Shannon also read it and she really liked it too, and I'm very excited to read it. It'll also be my first ever time reading a novel in verse, which I'm really excited for because I love poetry and slam poetry and lyrics and music, and I love it when language flows and has a rhythm and just makes your heart do fluttery things. It's just nice, isn't it? And I believe this follows a couple that have been having like an extramarital affair for a while, so I think both of them are married and they're having an affair with, oh god, Anna, just read it. So Anna and Connor have been having an affair for 3 years. In hotel rooms and coffee shops, swiftly deleted texts and briefly snatched weekends. They have built a world with none but the two of them in it. But then the unimaginable happens and Anna finds herself alone, trapped inside her secret. So yeah, I think the premise is that he passes away and she has to deal with her grief, but because it's obviously a secret affair, she has to deal with that grief privately and she can't let anyone see how much she's grieving. And that's such a good concept anyway, but to have that told through verse, I just think there's so much potential for like the richness of the language and the kind of, you know, because it's a private grief, there's going to be hopefully some kind of internal monologue, maybe stream of consciousness. I have no idea, I've never read Sarah Crossan before, but I am really excited to see what her writing style is like and to see what I make of my first ever book in verse. And also she's an Irish author, so we'll also be completing a prompt for the Irish Readathon. And for the BIPOC / LGBT book prompt, I will be reading The Happy Prince and Other Stories by Oscar Wilde. I did ask Leanne if it was a book that featured LGBT characters or it had to be an LGBT author, and she said that either was fine. And because I've already started The Happy Prince, that was just Perfect for me because obviously Oscar Wilde is Irish and is famous for being gay. Although in this book, there is a little bio at the front, and it says Wilde moved in the most fashionable circles in London society and was well known for his flamboyancy and unusual way of dressing. Just say he was gay. And then later on it says Wilde's contentious personal life led to his exit from society and his early death in 1900 at the age of 46. Just say he was gay. The only explanation that I can think of is that this is like a children's publisher and these are like children's fables, but also that's not an excuse because children get exposed to heterosexual, I can't even say the word, like, it's that irrelevant. Children get exposed to heterosexual relationships all of the time, so why not gay ones, you know? And all that hoo-ha about like exposure to gay relationships might turn your child gay. One, why is that a problem? Two, overexposure to overexposure to heterosexual relationships do not turn gay children straight. So why would it work the other way? It just makes no sense. Say the word gay in children's books, please. But anyway, I've already started this collection and it is a series of short stories, sort of fairy tales, not really fairy tales, I say more like fables. They're kind of stories that have like morality and like lessons at the center of them, and some of the imagery is really beautiful. And I'm like halfway through, so I will be finishing this for the LGBT prompt for the Irish Readathon. And the last prompt is to read a book centered around Irish mythology or folklore, and I was so glad when I saw this prompt because I've been wanting an excuse to buy this book for the longest time, and this finally gave me an excuse. And that is Savage Her Reply by Deirdre Sullivan. And I absolutely adored Tangleweed and Brine by Deirdre Sullivan, which is a collection of fairy tales and folk tales reimagined. So in that book she retells like The Little Mermaid and Snow White, stories that we all know, and then also some lesser known fairy tales too. And then this story I believe is a retelling of the Children of Lear, which is an Irish myth that I'm not familiar with, so I want to kind of look that up before I dive into this. But Deirdre Sullivan's writing is absolutely stunning, like it's so gorgeous, and just reading the back I'm like, We are ourselves and we are also the stories people tell. I am more than the worst thing I have ever done. When Aoife's sister dies, she is forced to marry her widower, the chieftain Lear. She promised to protect her sister's children, but Lear's mistreatment drives Aoife to use her magic against them. This savage retelling of a classic Irish fairy tale gives voice to Aoife, the scorned woman who took terrible vengeance on the children of Lear. Rich lyrical prose speaks of loss, jealousy, revenge, and finally, forgiveness. I'm so ready. And this is also illustrated by the same illustrator who did Tangleweed and Brine, and the illustrations were absolutely gorgeous in that book, and I'm just expecting the same level of gorgeousness here, and it looks like it will not disappoint. I don't know if you can even see that. It is so pretty. So yes, these are the 4 books that I'm hoping to read over the course of March for the Irish Readathon. I am really excited for all of my picks, especially Savage Her Reply and Here is the Beehive, simply because those are books I've wanted excuses to buy for a while, and I'm so glad that I finally had a reason to buy them and read them and just gush about them the way that lots of other people have. So I'm very excited. If you're also taking part in the Irish Readathon, let me know in the comments, let me know what you're reading. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon in another video soon. Bye.